Next, please welcome back to Alabama bound Tim Hollis.
Good to see you again. I probably look a little familiar to some of you because I've been here so many times. I think I've got mold growing on me by now. And it's sort of funny. Every time they book me to come to this event, the same thing happens with the weather. It's supposed to be just awful, and it always gets out of the way. So I never get to use my line where I was going to say, I wanted to open up with something like, it wasn't a fit night out for man nor beast. But the weather always goes out of the way before I can do that. But anyway, oh, you mean they've heard enough of that already? Okay. I know, but I can hear what you're thinking back there. But no, of course, you are probably familiar from seeing me here. You may be familiar with the Birmingham Rewound website with all of the local history that we cram onto there every month. They get me here about every other year because that gives time for some different books to come out. I think I'm up to either 15 or 16 books now. I've lost count. But the three, as far as I know, the three that are on the table over here are the ones that have come out in the 2 years since I was here the last. One of them, which is the one that if you've heard of it at all, is Vintage Birmingham Signs. That one came out last summer, and it got a tremendous amount of media coverage around here, and anyone that grew up in this area is going to recognize the stuff that is in it, definitely. It was like the third book in a trilogy. I did the Birmingham's Theater and Retail District, and then I did Birmingham Broadcasting, and then the Vintage Birmingham Signs is basically the material that was left over or that turned up after the other two came out. And I've told the publisher they need to put a push on Birmingham Broadcasting this summer since it's both Channel 6 and 13's 60th anniversaries. You'll be seeing a lot of me on Channel 6 this year because I'm helping them with that anniversary. 13, for some reason, has chosen to ignore theirs. So, they know I've got everything they need if they want to do anything with it, but you never can tell about those people. Let's see, I think one of the other books they have here goes in a completely different direction. It's called Selling the Sunshine State. And of course, some of you may know I've done a lot of writing about Southern tourism history over the years. And this one doesn't have a lot of writing in it. It's mostly graphics. It's a coffee table book, which means that it's big enough if you can put 4 legs on it, you can use it for a coffee table. But it collects together a lot of the old brochures and postcards and advertisements from the Florida attractions that most of us grew up going to, whether it's Panama City or St. Augustine or Miami or Tampa. All of those places are in there in beautiful, more than living color. I believe they had some procedure for printing color back in those days that made it look even better than it would if you were there in person. So I think that's probably the biggest selling point on that book. And then the third one that they have, when people ask me, what do I write about, I can't tell them because my books go off into so many different directions. So we've had the Birmingham ones, we've had the tourism history ones. The third one that they have, the title is Ain't That a Knee Slapper? And it is the history of rural comedy in the 20th century, going all the way back to the old-time radio days when some of you, well, I don't think there's anyone in this audience that's old enough to remember radio, but if they did, they might remember names like Bob Burns and Lum and Abner and Judy Canova and some of those comedians. And this book traces how that type of comedy evolved through radio into motion pictures, into animated cartoons, and of course into the television programs that people of my age are mostly familiar with, the Andy Griffith and the Beverly Hillbillies and those. All of these programs have a following of their own, but a lot of those fans don't realize that there is a lineage that runs through all of them. A lot of the same writers, a lot of the same creators. would reinvent themselves over and over. So that's it. Like I said, that is why I find it so difficult to answer the question about what I write about, because those are just 3 of them. And goodness knows my other books have gone off into directions that aren't even covered in those 3. And of course I'm still doing my creative writing program for elementary schools, where I tell the kids about how I started writing when I was their age, and about the stories I wrote, and I draw the characters, and I do the silly voices for them. So I do a lot of different things. So if anyone thinks that they've seen me somewhere, I never know where they've seen me, because it could be any one of half a dozen different places. But I'll tell you one place you're not going to see me, and that's right here, right now. I'm sitting down. Thank you.
Tim, I second Birmingham Rewound. What a wonderful website. You and the other guys do a great job with that, even if they do have some old recordings of me from that are just downright embarrassing.